All right, everyone. What's going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you're watching today. Sasha here. And I have another recipe / cooking for a change video, because why not? Surprisingly, this is the recipe that I came up with myself, and it is for honey maple chicken. Little backstory behind this recipe is that when I was younger, I used to frequent a mall in South Florida, Pembroke Lakes Mall. I think that's what it's called now. So shouts out to y'all who know where that is, know what it is. And in the past, they had this restaurant called Tropical Cafe. One of my favorite restaurants to go to, because they had this staple item, honey maple chicken. And then I would get it with the black bean and rice mixture. Y'all, you're going to see afterwards, this is one recipe for the record books you should definitely try. And you're going to see why when I finish and show y'all the end result. So what you see here, folks, is all that you need ingredients wise. Besides the meat, you're going to need some soy sauce. I have the reduced sodium because that's just how I roll. You're going to need some form of fresh garlic or minced garlic. Y'all know me. I've stated this before. I always have a jar of some sort of size or caliber of garlic in the kitchen. You're going to need some pure maple syrup. Yes, it's costly, but that's what's going to make this recipe work. That's the namesake. One half of the namesake, rather, is the maple syrup. Don't get that cheap crap. I shudder to think what it would taste like if you use the, traditional, cheaper syrup. But you need 100% maple syrup. And there's two types of syrup, or the 100% syrup. The dark and the Vermont. Please get the dark. You could try Vermont. I tried Vermont 100%. It doesn't taste right. So defo dark maple syrup. And then this is the raw honey I use. Y'all, it has been beat up in a box, but I managed to secure it. Still good. Although honey is pretty much, it doesn't expire. But, aesthetically this doesn't look cute, but still is good. I would recommend this type of honey, the YS Eco Bee Farms, or Eco Bee Farms rather, raw honey. You don't have to get the organic. Oops. You don't have to get the organic. The non-organic is just as fine. You're also going to need some extra virgin olive oil, or just some oil to saute the chicken. And then S&P, no different. So I'm going to set y'all down while I prep the chicken, and I'll talk you through how I cook this recipe. So don't go anywhere. All right, y'all. So got my first chicken breast. You're going to need around 2.5–3 pounds of chicken. It could be chicken breast, chicken thighs, chicken tenders, whatever you have available. Just make sure that it's boneless and skinless. So first, what you're going to do is cut up your chicken into nice little smaller bites. So I'm just sectioning this out. And I've had, thoughts and whatnot to saute my chicken first and then cut it up. But, I don't know. This is how I do it. You could try to just take the whole chicken, breast or tender or thigh, and then saute it first, then cut it up. Theoretically it should be the same, but I don't know, y'all. This is just how I do it. Get the cutting out the way first. Because I don't want, like, that excess fat. Like, I could take this time to trim off any of the fat or the rib meat that sometimes be on my chicken breast or thighs or whatever, you know? So, kind of kill two birds with one stone in that sense. But you just want some nice little bite-sized pieces. Doesn't have to be perfect. And if y'all hear the TV and stuff going on in the background, it's just my mother watching TV. But hopefully I talk loud enough so y'all should be able to hear me. The hands washed, I'm going to go ahead and warm up the stove. Get it ready to be sauteing my chicken. You can see I'd rather not touch the chicken again until I'm ready to work with it. But just smaller chunks, you know. Of course, tenders are going to be at least a step smaller than, or, you know, one less step versus working with chicken thighs or chicken breast. But just get them to this type of size. I'll zoom in a little. You'll see it better once I saute these. While the stove is getting to temp, let's go ahead and salt and pepper these, huh? Got a bit of kosher salt. Not too much because I'm also introducing soy sauce, you know, which has a good amount of sodium in it too. So just a little bit of salt and pepper to get the basics down. And it's very light, y'all. Very light. I'm not trying to be meticulous in covering every bit of chicken. Just overall, you want something of the salt and pepper to touch each morsel. But I would say this is like a fourth teaspoon. Fourth to a half teaspoon of salt, and then a fourth teaspoon of pepper. Really, you don't need all that much. You just want enough to cover somewhat of all the chicken. Don't be, you know, concerned if all of the bits and pieces of your chicken doesn't have a bit of salt or pepper. We're going to, you know, slowly cook the chicken in the honey maple sauce marinade. Okay, so it's just the, you know, cover our butts seasoning basic. We don't want the chicken to be too, you know, seasoned. All right. Okay, so pan is getting a little hot, which is okay. So I'm gonna add about 1 to 2 tablespoons of the extra virgin olive oil. If you don't have extra virgin olive oil, don't fret. Just use whatever you have on hand. You just want an oil to, you know, help saute. But we usually have olive oil on hand. So just enough basically to coat the pan. Okay. So just gonna let that get heated up. I'm gonna add in the chicken, saute it, and then I'll bring y'all in for when you need to take the chicken out. Okay. So this is what we're looking for. This chicken is nowhere near done, but you just want to saute it for a little bit, and not all the chicken is fully cooked. So you just want to change, you know, the chicken from like raw to putting in like a steak analogy. I guess it would be medium rare, sort of, kind of. So I have a separate container. What I'm gonna do is transfer this chicken into the separate container, hold off on it, and also like drain all this excess water that came out of the chicken. Drain that off. And I'm going to go ahead and prepare the sauce. So I'll set y'all down a little bit. Okay, drained out the chicken juice. And this is going to be on standby after we've assembled the sauce. So I'm going to put this away. Now, the honey maple sauce calls for the following. It's going to be 1 cup raw honey, or 1 cup honey, whatever you have. 1 cup 100% maple syrup. A 1/4 cup reduced sodium soy sauce. Now I lowered the skillet to about medium-low heat. And here's a pro tip. Anytime you're dealing with a very viscous liquid or, product such as syrup or honey, what I like to do is spray with whatever cooking spray you have on hand. Makes it easier for the liquid it is a liquid. What makes the substance easier to leave your measuring cups and whatnot. So it doesn't matter what, just as long as you give it a nice thorough spray, you should be good. There's no really particular order on what to pour in, just as long as you have the ingredients. And let me decrease the heat a little more. This one. So we got the cup of honey. So let's see. Look at that. Comes out almost like melted butter. And now we're going to measure out the maple syrup, the dark maple syrup. So this isn't as bad as honey. Okay. We have the cup of honey, or the cup of maple syrup. That goes in as well.
There are those who stand for
Okay.
ready to defend the nation, ready to fight for what matters.
And then the 4th cup of low sodium soy sauce, or if you have regular soy sauce, be my guest. But my thing is, you gotta watch the salt content. Garlic. And I'm just gonna eyeball this. I'm not really gonna measure out, but you want 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, which for minced garlic, that's usually 1 to 2, I'd say, heaping tablespoons of the minced garlic. So now all of our sauce ingredients are in. I'm gonna crank up the heat, let it come up to a boil, and then Just make sure everything is incorporated. Make sure all the honey is melted. And I will bring y'all in when we're about to add the chicken. Just a quick little interlude. While you're doing the sauce, if you see that it's doing this, like foaming and bubbling up, because it has done this quite a bit of times when I made this recipe, don't freak out. All you have to do is just remove it from heat temporarily so that it doesn't foam up too quick and rise and cause a mess. So just remove it from heat, stir it. I'm not sure what's making the sauce foam. Maybe it's the raw honey, or maybe it's the minced garlic. But yeah, just keep, watch it. This should only take 5 to 10 minutes over medium heat. So I have it on a little bit medium high 6, but really 4 or 5, as you can see. Don't go any higher than 6 though. Just keep an eye out for it, and if you see that it's getting too high to the point where it might overflow the pot, take it off heat for a minute or 2. I had to just cut to where the chicken is in the pan. You didn't miss anything exciting, I promise you. As you can see from the marks on the pan, the sauce did reduce. Like I said, 5 to 10 minutes over medium high heat. So that's like a 6 at the highest. And I let that, cook up some. It was foaming. When it foams, take it off heat. Then once it's settled, you can put it back on heat, stir it up a little bit more just to make sure everything is incorporated and good to go. Now I just dumped the chicken back in. This is what's going to make the chicken cook. This part right here. So it's just going to slow simmer in this skillet for 40 to 50 minutes over medium heat. I tend to err on the cautious side and go 40 minutes, but I think there was one time where I did do it to 50 minutes, maybe even an hour. But folks, the thing is, you want to make sure that you check periodically, like every 10-15 minutes. Check the chicken, stir it up, make sure all the chicken pieces are getting cooked in this liquid. That is soon to be a thick sauce, or like a gravy sort of deal. Y'all gonna see what I mean when we come back, but I'll take you along the way for the steps. So like I said, this is the initial cooking part, and you could cover it. I'm gonna cover this when I put the phone down, but basically you're gonna come out periodically, stir the chicken, make sure that each chicken piece is getting cooked in the sauce. This is how you know that the chicken is thoroughly cooked, and you want to make sure that you're, making the sauce a sauce rather than this liquid. Also, you want to, before I introduce the chicken, I should have said this earlier, but before I introduce the chicken to the sauce, drain off any excess liquid from the chicken that's been sitting in your separate container, because you don't want to water down the sauce. So if you did, don't worry. You just cook it for longer, probably 50 minutes to an hour. But should be done in an hour. Just keep, coming back to check on it, and you should be good to go. So folks, I will see you for about the first time I check on this chicken. Okay, so this is checkup number 1. And as you can see, the chicken is taking in more of that honey maple sauce, which is what we want. However, see what I mean when I say make sure? This is why you want to stir, because had we left this as is, those chicken pieces that were over here would have been not as well cooked as the others, and we don't want that. But yeah, basically the chicken's gonna take on more and more of a dark caramelized color. So let's check up one. Okay, folks, so here we are, pretty much with the finished product. So it took on more of, you know, a dark color. Don't fret, you know, if it looks dark, it's not burnt. This sort of color. That's why I say 40 to 50 minutes. But I let it go an extra hour, or excuse me, not extra hour, extra 10 minutes, making it to an hour. But here's how it looks. And I will be more than happy to taste on camera. Alrighty, folks, so here we are. So this is the honey maple chicken. And then this is basically what I would eat my honey maple chicken with. It is brown rice, black beans cooked together. I think there's a actual term for the dish, but it escapes my memory at the moment. I'll probably edit it in the video. But yeah, y'all, these two, holy cow, many a lunch and dinner. And then I just added some corn because that's what we had. But I know what y'all are thinking right now. The gravy, I would put that gravy or sauce or whatever, the excess over the rice and beans. Oh my goodness, y'all. If I have to offer any additional advice when making this meal, if you make it these two items, put the sauce over the rice. You'll thank me for it. It tastes so good, y'all. But yeah, that is today's episode of Cooking for a Change. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. And let's give it a taste before I get into it. So this is how it looks. Can't really do the autofocus properly. But it's very, it's very juicy. It's not dried out, if that's what you're worried about. See there? It's almost like the exterior is chicken jerky, but the interior is juicy. So yeah, y'all, give it a try. I'll have the recipe in the description. And yeah, any questions, comments, suggestions, or small talk, don't be a stranger. Leave it in my comment section below. Any and all are welcome. Greatly appreciated. I'd love to answer any additional, questions or concerns that you may have if you're trying to follow this recipe. Yeah, I'm really hungry, so I'm just gonna wrap it up. Enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend, y'all. Make it a great day today and every day. And I will see you in the next video. So until then, folks, take care. Take it easy. Bye now.